Some pretty shocking news in the past 24 hours as yesterday, Iran warned the United States will not be spared if this war in Gaza continues. And this comes as I let you know that tensions have been escalating between the United States and Iran. There have been attacks taking place, all centered around the Israel and Hamas war. But what is very, very bold about this statement is take a look. It actually took place at the UN in the United States. The foreign minister for Iran stood before all of the UN on American soil and told the United States, you will not be spared if this war continues. Take a look at the video footage so you can see it for yourself.
I say frankly to the American statesmen who are now managing the genocide in Palestine that we do not welcome to expansion of the war in the region. But I warn, if the genocide in Gaza continues, they will not be spared from this fire.
So let me know your thoughts. A pretty bold threat on the U.S. soil. Now, this comes, as I shared with you yesterday, that there have been new developments in just the past 48 hours that people are concerned about World War III sparking between the U.S., Iran. We've already got Russia, Ukraine. We have China and Taiwan issues, and it's all circling around Israel and Hamas. Now, take a look. I shared with you that President Joe Biden, when all of this began 2 weeks ago, warned Iran, do not attack the United States. Take a look.
Made it clear to the Iranians, be careful.
And as I shared with you in yesterday's video, a little bit of context, all of this is circling around the fact that Iran actually funds and supports Hamas to attack Israel. They want to destroy Israel, and the United States is allies with Israel. So immediately, Biden had warned Iran, do not attack the United States with the conflict that is going on. However, I also shared with you that over the course of the past 2 weeks, take a look at this. U.S. troops in the Middle East have been attacked 14 times, and they have been linked directly to Iran. Now, President Joe Biden issued another warning in the past 48 hours. Biden warned there would be a response if Iran continued to attack U.S. troops. And what we heard is that overnight and throughout the day, more attacks took place, and that number of 14 has now gone up to 20. And let me know your thoughts. Do other foreign leaders think that President Joe Biden's threats are empty? Do they not respect him as a leader as they continued to attack our troops regardless of what he has threatened? Well, take a look at this. According to the Associated Press, now U.S. fighter jets are striking Iran-linked sites in Syria in retaliation for the attacks on U.S. troops. And things are escalating between the United States and Iran. And now just yesterday, on U.S. soil, a bold claim by Iran that the U.S. will not be spared. And I'm going to share with you the latest updates on this and what they're saying. And let me know your thoughts. Are we on the brink of World War III? is Iran. And also planning attacks to take place on U.S. soil. Well, let's go ahead and dive right in. I'm going to get you caught up on the latest, and I know that this is not the news that anybody wants to hear. However, if you appreciate the information, and I believe that information is power, then do me a favor, smash the like button if you appreciate the updates. And if you want to stay up to date on everything taking place, hit the subscribe button, turn on the notification bell. I'll let you know all the latest news that's unfolding. But with that being said, you guys, let's go ahead and dive right in and get you caught up on the latest articles with tensions rising in the Middle East, all focused around Israel and Hamas, but now pulling in the United States, Iran, and people are saying we could be looking at World War III. All right, so as always, link in the description below to this article that just came out yesterday. I always cite the sources, put them on the screen, and read right from it so you can see it's the latest. And the article says that Iran's foreign minister, he warned at the United Nations on Thursday yesterday that if Israel's retaliation against Palestinian militants Hamas in the Gaza Strip doesn't end, then the United States will not be spared from this fire, he said. I say frankly to the American statesmen who are now managing the genocide in Palestine that we do not welcome an expansion of the war in the region. But if the genocide in Gaza continues, they will not be spared from this fire, he told a meeting of 193 members of the General Assembly on the Middle East. Israel has vowed to wipe out Hamas, which rules Gaza, in retaliation for an October 7th attack that killed 1,400 people and saw hundreds taken hostage. Israel has struck Gaza from the air, imposed a siege, and is preparing a ground invasion. Palestinian authorities say more than 7,000 have been killed. Hamas has told Iran that it was ready to release civilian hostages, adding that the world should push for the release of 6,000 Palestinians in Israel's prisons. The Islamic Republic of Iran stands ready to play its part in this very important humanitarian endeavor, along with Qatar and Turkey. Naturally, the release of the 6,000 Palestinian prisoners is another necessity and responsibility of the global community. Some pretty shocking news in the past 24 hours. And we have heard from Israel that this conflict is nowhere from over, that they are going through Gaza. They said they will end Hamas and they will not stop until it's done. Now, multiple U.S. federal agencies have stressed that they have yet to see any intelligence suggesting that Iran is planning an imminent attack on the U.S. critical infrastructure, but they're on heightened alert and hoping that the new defenses that they created after Russia invaded Ukraine, which brought worry. Now, this comes as today, U.S. fighter jets are striking Iran-linked sites. Again, this is linked in the description below. And the article says that U.S. fighter jets launched airstrikes early Friday on 2 locations in eastern Syria linked to Iran's Revolutionary Guard Corps, the Pentagon said, in retaliation for a slew of drone missile attacks against U.S. bases and personnel in the region that began early last week. The strikes reflect the Biden administration's determination to maintain a delicate balance. The U.S. wants to hit Iranian-backed groups suspected of targeting the U.S. as strongly as possible to deter future aggression, possibly fueled by Israel's war against Hamas, while also working to avoid inflaming the region and provoking a wider conflict. According to a senior U.S. military official, the precision strikes were carried out near Bokamel by 2 F-16 jet fighters, and they struck weapons and ammunition storage areas that were connected to the IRGC. The official said that there has been Iranian-aligned militia and IRGC personnel on the base and no civilians, but the U.S. does not have any information yet on casualties or an assessment of damage. The official would not say how many munitions were launched by the F-16s. The senior defense official said that the sites were chosen because the IRGC stores the types of munitions there that would be used to strike against U.S. bases and troops. The two officials briefed reporters after the strikes on conditions of anonymity to provide details on the mission that had not yet been made public. Now, according to the Pentagon, as of Thursday, there had now been 19 attacks. And when I shared that update with you at the time, there had been 14. These attacks are on U.S. bases and personnel in Iraq and Syria since October 17th. Air Force Brig General Pat Ryder said that 21 U.S. personnel were injured in two of those assaults when drones targeted Al-Assad Air Base in Iraq and Al-Tanf garrison in Syria. In a statement, Defense Secretary Lloyd Austin said the precision self-defense strikes are a response to a series of ongoing and mostly unsuccessful attacks against the U.S. personnel in Iraq and Syria by Iranian-backed militia groups that began on October 17th. He said President Joe Biden directed the narrowly tailored strike to make clear that the United States will not tolerate such attacks and will defend itself, its personnel, and its interests. And he added that the operation was separate and distinct from Israel's war against Hamas. So let me know your thoughts in the comments. Are we going to be able to de-escalate this situation, or is there going to be retaliation after retaliation? Getting larger and larger until we have a full-scale blown-out war, and this could lead to World War III. We're hearing warnings, and Elon Musk is saying this as well, and he's saying that this is an existential threat to humanity, that our number one top priority at this time should be avoiding World War III. However, at the same time, we are getting attacked by Iran. The United States, we're receiving bold threats on our soil. And at what point do we say enough is enough? Let me know your thoughts in the comments down below. In addition to that, if we go to war with Iran, will other countries get pulled in, as they are also allies with Russia and China, and we are allies with Israel and other countries and the UN? Let me know your thoughts in the comments down below. So a lot of things are escalating. At this time, a lot of developments in about the past 48 hours. And you guys, as more comes out on this, I'll be sure to let you know. I know this is not what anybody wants to hear. However, as more comes out, I will be sure to share so that way you are aware of what is taking place. Some pretty incredible news coming out in the past 24 hours. Clarification on attacks on U.S. soil to our water systems, electrical grids, our infrastructure. This is the focus, they're saying, of Hamas and other terrorist groups that would like to attack the U.S. Now, take a look. As I shared with you 48 hours ago, this came out on Tuesday. The FBI says terrorism threat hits a whole other level after Hamas attacks. Hamas attack will inspire the greatest U.S. terror threat since ISIS, the FBI director says, and more details coming out just yesterday on this. I shared it with you live, but a lot of people said they'd like to see the actual articles and see it on the screen. All of these will be linked in the description below, but take a look. U.S. officials hold their breath for Iranian cyber attacks. Critical infrastructure owners and operators are stepping up their security as the U.S. government keeps a close eye on evolving threats from Tehran in cyberspace, and they are saying that they are already here, planning to attack U.S. major cities. And what they're planning is not not only physical attacks, but attacks against our infrastructure, to take down our water systems, to take down our power grids, to overthrow our airports. They're saying they're trying to take down U.S. systems. Now, the FBI just said that this is a major concern. They are on high alert, and they believe that this could be happening right now. And we also heard from Congress that same day that they believe the terrorists are already here. They've been pouring into our borders literally a week prior to the Israel-Hamas war being announced. Biden flipped the script and said, build the wall. Could it be that they know that terrorists are already here planning things? And we heard from the FBI director that just last week, there was a terrorist threat in Houston, in Texas, and a bomber was stopped. And we've heard of attacks and things happening in Los Angeles, New York, Chicago, New Orleans, all around the nation. There are protests, attacks taking place, and we're hearing that things are likely going to be getting worse. And we've also heard that this war is not coming to an end anytime soon. And it looks like the only nation backing Israel at this time is the United States. And take a look at this. Outrage as Iran's regime chairs the United Nations Human Rights Council, body despite alarming abuses. And they're saying Iran is leading the Human Rights Council chair for the UN. And will the U.S. continue to stand for Israel? Let me know your thoughts in the comments down below. Now, let's go ahead and take a look at the article. Like I said, I'm going to put it on the screen. I'll link this down below so that way you can get the details of the attacks that they're saying could be coming against our infrastructure systems. And I say all this to let people know, make preparations for what you are about to hear the details of. Maybe you need to stock up on water, get backup generators, whatever it is that you need to do in preparation. Please do so. And you appreciate the knowledge being transmitted, and I believe that knowledge is power. Do me a favor, smash the like button, just takes a second. And if you want to stay up to date, it's totally free. Why not? Hit the subscribe button, turn on the notification bell. And if you appreciate the updates and want to support the channel, you can take it a step further by hitting the join button. And in return, I will have all these articles popping up on your YouTube feed as I'm citing every single article in the sources for members. But with that being said, you guys, let's go ahead and dive right into this article, get you caught up on the latest. All right, so link in the description below to this article that just came out yesterday, giving us more details on what the FBI believes is being planned and plotted right now on U.S. soil from attacks from Hamas being funded by Iran. Now, the article says that the U.S. government is prepping for a potential onslaught of Iranian cyber attacks in retaliation for support for Israel in its conflict with Hamas. It's far from just Israel at risk of cyber attacks from the Hamas-aligned regime's cyber operatives, U.S. officials say. They also see the United States and other nations that support Israel's government as likely targets. Such attacks could take the form of attempting to damage critical systems like water or electricity. So there you heard it. So water, they potentially could be doing something to the water. Electricity, taking out our power grids, would likely involve widespread disinformation efforts and could also involve proxies to keep Iran's fingerprints off of incidents. So as these take place, making it look like it came from somewhere else. The cyber targeting of American interests and critical infrastructure that we already see conducted by Iran and non-state actors alike, we can expect to get worse if the conflicts expand, as will the threats of kinetic attacks as well. The FBI Director Christopher Wray testified to the Senate Homeland Security and Governmental Affairs Committee on Tuesday. And we have heard from Israel that this conflict is nowhere from over, that they are going through Gaza. They said they will end Hamas and they will not stop until it's done. Now, multiple U.S. federal agencies have stressed that they have yet to see any intelligence suggesting that Iran is planning an imminent attack on the U.S. critical infrastructure, but they're on heightened alert and hoping that the new defenses that they created after Russia invaded Ukraine, which brought worries about cyber attacks in the U.S. to the forefront, will be able to adapt and grow to accommodate threats on multiple fronts. Iran backs a network of sophisticated cyber operatives akin to those that work with Russia and China, who have the capacity to tunnel into government systems and or disable companies' entire computer networks. Tehran has launched attacks in the U.S. in the past, but the risk is far higher and more serious in light of the conflict in Gaza. Tehran has long funded Hamas and other pro-Palestinian groups, and since the October 7th attacks by Hamas on Israel, Iran-backed armed groups in the Middle East have launched drone attacks against the U.S. forces in Iraq and Syria. I could envision the possibility that we have to be prepared for this, of an effort to attack our critical infrastructure or our electrical grid, or, for example, air traffic systems, water, said Michael Chertoff, the former Secretary of Homeland Security under the Bush administration. A DHS official, speaking anonymously to reporters as a condition of a briefing last month, said that in the days following October 7th's attack by Hamas militants on Israel, DHS held a call with the FBI and other agencies with almost 4,000 law enforcement officials throughout the country to discuss any potential physical or cyber threats stemming from the conflict. The official declined to provide details on those dangers, but said that the agency is actively monitoring the situation in Israel for threats to the U.S. homeland. So they're not giving any specific details, just that they are on high alert right now, that they believe that potential attacks could be coming to U.S. soil. DHS's Cybersecurity and Infrastructure Security Agency, which would take the lead in any response, said that it has stepped up its efforts to monitor for a new wave of cyber attacks against U.S. critical infrastructures following the October 7th strike. Eric Goldstein, Executive Director of Cybersecurity for CIS, ISA said in a statement that the agency has been in continuous coordination with other Israeli partners since the horrific terrorist attacks. A spokesperson for the Office of the National Cyber Director declined to comment on what steps are being taken to defend against Iran's attacks, while a spokesperson from the White House National Security Council did not respond to repeated requests for comments either. Now, the DHS official said that it is also sharing threat information with a range of outside groups that could be targeted by Iranian cyber attacks, including religious organizations. Specifically, the official said that DHS is providing information to faith-based information sharing and analyst organizations, which monitor threats to a range of U.S. religious groups. Cyber threats from Iran are certain and ongoing, Warwick noted in his written testimony. This is an area where Iran could pull off a strategic surprise. At that hearing, members on both sides of the aisle highlighted Iranian cyber threats as a particular worry for the United States amid the Israel-Hamas conflict. The Iranian regime is becoming more determined and more adept at its meticulous activities, Committee Chair Mark Green said during the hearing. And officials and lawmakers alike warned that preparations need to be happening right now. There may not be specific information or intelligence about an attack yet, but you don't necessarily want to wait until that happens. Now, let me know your thoughts in the comments down below, but I totally agree. If the FBI and Congress both come out warning the same thing on the same day, it's probably a good idea for us to be on the lookout. And the next day, just yesterday, in the past 24 hours, we've gotten details that the attacks might not be physical attacks, but cyber attacks on our infrastructure systems to take down U.S. systems on U.S. soil in major cities. And I feel like, and we have heard some pretty incredible footage coming out in the past 72 hours. And what you are witnessing is not taking place in the Middle East or in the Gaza Strip, but right here in the United States, in cities like New York, Chicago, New Orleans. On U.S. soil, there are protests and attacks taking place. And what we're hearing is that this will intensify, that this war is nowhere near done, Israel has said. And just the other day, I let you know that we had heard from the foreign minister for Iran, who warned the United States that if this war continues, that the United States would not be spared from their fire, and that there is concern that a lot of the people that could attack us here on U.S. soil are already here and have already made their way through the southern border. Now, in addition to that, I just shared with you yesterday the breaking news, literally hours after it had taken place, that in Russia, an airport was overtaken by pro-Palestinian protesters, and they went out onto the runways and were going from plane to plane seeking out Jewish refugees. And now we're hearing that refugees coming here to the United States are saying they are concerned about their safety, even being here on U.S. soil. They do not feel safe with what's taking place. Now, I'm going to share with you the latest video footage coming out on this, and I want to warn you, it is intense. However, I do believe that knowledge is power, and we need to know what is going on. And if you appreciate the updates, keeping you up to speed on everything taking place, do me a favor, smash the like button, just takes a second. And if you want to stay up to date, it's totally free. Why not hit the subscribe button, turn on the notification bell. I cite all the sources, put them on the screen, put them in the description so you can see it for yourself. And if you'd like to support this channel, I'll actually add a member section, a join, and just start citing the sources so that way they can pop up on your YouTube feed if you like that as well. But you guys, let's dive into the video footage and the articles so you can see exactly what's been happening here in the United States in the past 72 hours. And let me know your thoughts. Are we safe here? Let's go ahead and take a look and get you caught up on the latest. Here's some video footage.
You're looking down at the Barclays Center in Brooklyn. This is Flatbush Avenue, where you can see a large rally that was labeled Flood Brooklyn for Gaza, pro-Palestinian group. It's a long line of people. So far, a relatively peaceful march as they make their way along Flatbush Avenue.
These are the very tense moments immediately after that shot was fired. You can see people scattering, running for cover amid the chaos and confusion. Police were able to subdue the shooter, take him into custody. No word yet on any charges.
Some pretty incredible footage coming out in the past. Some pretty intense video footage. Now, take a look at this article that just came out. Link in the description below. Hamas survivor speaks out about ignorant pro-Palestinian protests in the United States, and you can see this just came out a couple days ago. Survivors of the Hamas terror attack have spoken out against the ignorant pro-Palestinian protests erupting across U.S. cities and college campuses, and fear that it could be the beginning of something worse. I opened a newspaper, and on the second page, I saw a sign on a store saying, "No Jews are allowed," said Maya Parizer, 27, to the Post. Now, she recently arrived in the United States after escaping the Nova Music Festival massacre when Hamas terrorists slaughtered more than 200 innocent revelers on October 7th. For me, it brings back the days of the Holocaust, where it started on small things, but then the hate crimes just grew bigger. Now, she was partying with friends at the festival in Israel, not far from the Gaza border, when the Iran-backed terrorists attacked. She hid in a small room for 23 hours with 3 other family members as terrorists swarmed the event, killing or capturing anyone they could. She said even though she's now on U.S. soil, she still does not feel safe. Ahead of the meeting with the U.S. senators on Capitol Hill this week, she was forced to enter the building through an underground tunnel as pro-Palestinian demonstrators blocked the entrance. She said that she feared that the protesters would turn violent, which flew in the face of her perception.
Yo, he just mentioned undertunnel. Like all these underground tunnels they got, yo.
And that the U.S. is the most safe place possible. I want to stop being scared like I've been since October 7th. It just keeps getting worse because I'm not in a war zone anymore, but it feels like I am in some way. I'm scared that around any corner, someone could identify me, maybe from an interview, maybe from hearing my accent, maybe just assuming. This is 2023. People should just wake up. Soon after Israel began its retaliatory airstrikes against Hamas, pro-Palestinian protesters took to the streets across the country. While many have been peaceful, others have been hateful demonstrators burning U.S. flags and Israeli flags, or even worse. At a pro-Palestinian rally in Midtown on the day after the Hamas attack on Israel had killed 1,400 Jews, one attendee was seen brandishing a picture.
Okay, by the way, I almost got confused too. He's reading a 2023 article on this one. That's why I was like, what the hell? Is it a 2023 article? I'm going to find out when he's done.
Of a swastika on their phone. Several high school girls from Brooklyn Urban's Assembly Institute of Math and Science for Young Women also brandished unsettling signs at a Washington Square Park rally on Wednesday reading, "Please keep our world clean," and above was an illustration showing the blue Star of David in a garbage can. Mark Afsker, the Soviet Union-born grandson of Holocaust survivors, said some of the U.S.-based demonstrations that he has seen or read about take a very shallow view of the situation. I don't expect most people to get into the depths of some conflict or situation halfway around the world. It's totally fine for people to be ignorant of a situation, he conceded, before adding, "It is not fine to be ignorant and then express extreme, very strong opinions about a situation that they know nothing about. And not only that, but also to insist violently to make their opinions enforced, that is something that is completely unacceptable. The campuses of some of America's top colleges and universities have been the sites of some of the most anti-Semitic rhetoric displayed under the guise of showing support for Palestine. On October 11th, a 24-year-old Israeli Columbian University student was beaten with a stick outside of the university's main library, leading to an assault as a hate crime charge against 19-year-old Maxwell Friedman. Campus protests resumed the next day as thousands of people representing both sides flooded its main square. The day after Hamas cowardly striked against Israel, 34 student groups at Harvard University signed a letter saying Israel was entirely responsible for the terror attack. Harvard saw large pro-Palestinian demonstrations on campuses, which included the chant, "From the river to the sea, Palestine will be free," which the Anti-Defamation League calls an anti-Semitic slogan. Hamas attack survivor Adel Ramir agrees, but took it a step further. When they say Palestine will be free from the river to the sea, we have to understand that that is a genocidal war cry. The 68-year-old American Israeli who spent 14 hours locked in her home's armored safe room as she and her family listened to Hamas fighters burn the town to the ground and kidnap their neighbors. Afsker also shared a Halloween account echoing the events of the Holocaust relayed to him by his sister-in-law, who took shelter with her 3 young children as a bloodthirsty terrorists raided their neighborhood. The image that she told me about, how they were hiding in the shelter, listening to the soldiers around shooting and hearing their voices and waiting in horror for the moment that the door would open and they would be shot on the spot. Those are the images that I didn't expect to hear now because I remembered so many of them. He said that although the Holocaust happened 80 years ago during a different era and in a different place, it is still living history for everyone in Israel today. He expressed fears about what will happen with our young leaders of tomorrow who are currently being fed a steady diet of inaccurate information about Israel at leading colleges and universities around the country that will graduate into the real world. Kids grow up. But the concern is that if those kids, when they grow up, will not get some sense into them, will become the leaders and will replace the leaders today that still have some common sense. And that will be concerning. Some pretty intense video footage.
So apparently, according to him, we're already in the middle of war. But for those of y'all that don't know, we have an article here. Right? First one says U.S. warns hackers are carrying out attacks on water systems. And this one was put out here March 20th, 2024. Right? Washington, March 20th. The U.S. government is warning state governors that foreign hackers are carrying out disruptive cyber attacks against water and sewage systems throughout the country. In a letter released Tuesday, National Security Advisor Jake Sullivan and Environmental Protection Agency Administrator Michael Reagan warned that disabling cyber attacks are striking water and wastewater systems throughout the United States. The letter singled out alleged Iranian and Chinese cyber saboteurs. Sullivan and Reagan cited a recent case in which hackers accused of acting in concert with Iran's Revolutionary Guards and disabled a controller at a water facility in Pennsylvania. Oh, snap. They also called out a Chinese hacking group dubbed Vote Typhoon, which they said had compromised information technology of multiple critical infrastructure systems, including drinking water in the United States and its territories. These attacks have been potential to disrupt the critical lifeline of clean and safe water, as well as impose significant costs on affected communities, the letter said. China's embassy in Washington and Iran's mission to the United States nation did not immediately return a message seeking comment. Both countries have in the past denied carrying out cyber attacks. The digital safety of water and sewage plants has long been a concern for cybersecurity professionals because the facilities provide a critical service and can often be lightly defended. Last year's intrusion at a booster facility, which monitors and regulates water pressure in Aliquippa, Pennsylvania, drew particular attention in part because the stricken controller was replaced with a message saying, "You have been hacked." All right, so this article. Where was I at? This article ends right here where I'm about to finish reading. No damage to the water system was reported, but in a statement released at the time, an industry group called the Water Information Sharing and Analysis Center said this may not be an isolated incident. Tuesday letters called on governments to ensure that all water systems in your state comprehensively assess their current cybersecurity practices and prepare for potential cyber incidents. So basically, we have to prepare ourselves for cyber attacks. So this article right here, for those of you that wish to have it, is in the description box down below. So here's the next article. So for those of y'all that be like, yo, you going to buy YouTuber, you going to buy TikToker? No, I'm not. I actually went out, did my research, and this article was actually released today. Russian warships enter the Red Sea, Navy says. The Houthis have vowed to continue their attacks in the Red Sea as long as Israel continues to commit crimes against Palestinians. By Reachers, March 28, 2024 at 11:20, updated March 2028, March 28, 2024 at 14:38. Baby, hold on, I'm using this. Give me 1 second. I'll give it to you in a minute. 1 minute. I see it. Oh, that's cool. Oh, it will read the article for me? Oh, thank you. Let me see.
Chaos with Keep. Keep's business automation software can help you automate workflows from lead follow-up to employee onboarding right from your CRM. Visit keap.com to learn more.
The Izviz.tv channel, owned by the Defense Ministry, quoted the fleet under the Red Sea. Navy says the Houthis have Russian warships under the Red Sea. Navy says the Houthis have vowed to continue their attacks in the Red Sea as long as Israel continues to commit crimes against Palestinians. Several Russian warships have passed the Bab el-Mandab Strait into the Red Sea, the Russian Navy's Pacific Fleet said on Thursday, amid attacks by Yemen's Houthis on merchant shipping. The Izviz.tv channel, owned by the Defense Ministry, quoted the fleet as saying the Russian cruiser Voryag and the frigate Marshal Shapusnikov were taking part in the voyage. Houthi terrorists in Yemen have repeatedly attacked ships passing through the Bab al-Mandab Strait in the Red Sea since November in support of Palestinians, the terror organization claims. Attacks by Houthi terrorists. The Houthis have vowed to continue their attacks as long as Israel continues to commit crimes against Palestinians. In February, the Houthis attacked the Ruby Mer cargo ship on the Bab al-Mandab Strait, which sunk at the beginning of March. The ship, containing 21,000 metric tons of ammonium phosphate sulfate fertilizer, presents an environmental risk in the Red Sea. Houthi terrorists in Yemen, who control the country's most populous regions, have primarily targeted vessels with commercial ties to the United States, Britain, and Israel. Just a quick word from our sponsor.
Conquer your business chaos with Keep. Keep's business automation software can help you automate workflows from lead follow-up to employee onboarding right from your CRM. Visit keap.com to learn more.
All right, so that was it. Yep, that was it. All right, so as y'all can see, I showed y'all the videos. I showed y'all the clips. Don't close. Oh, why would you close? I showed y'all the videos and I showed y'all the clips. Listen, man, I suggest a lot of y'all do your own research. I did this live today. The whole purpose of this live was, to bring awareness, to let y'all know what is going on around us, what's happening around us. Like, some of us really need to stop focusing on these celebrities and start focusing on the real things around us. Like, what would y'all do? Like I said, once again, and I'm going to keep repeating myself, if we end up with no electricity, like if they was to shut the whole power grid in whatever city or state that you're in, what will we do? Let us surely know what y'all think about, everything y'all heard on these clips. Leave your comments down below. Anybody that catches the replay, let us surely know what y'all think. Shout out to Tom McDonald's. On that note, I'm going to leave you with one of Tom McDonald's songs, and I hope y'all enjoy it.